Hello and welcome, my name is Hoshiko, and today's entire video is all about using shower curtains as large diffusion materials for micro-budget filmmaking. Before we get started though, I want to recognize that I am just a few subscribers away from 1,000 total, and that is so incredibly exciting to me. Thank you so much to everyone who watches and enjoys my videos. I really appreciate it. Now, shower curtain diffusion is not at all an original or new idea, but as I mentioned in my cheapest cheap diffusion solutions video a few weeks ago, I've never actually used them before and got one to test for that video. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will link it down in the video's description. If you're here for just my main impressions on the shower curtain and using it as diffusion, I was a bit surprised by how effective it was, impressed by the light loss, and thrilled to have a very large source for that cost. And overall, I'm quite happy with it. The main reason I love the idea of this tool is that it really makes large diffusion so much more accessible to micro-budget filmmakers and DPs. A classic 6x6 silk is around $100, and with a frame kit, it's around $450. Since I didn't use the frame here, I don't think it's fair to compare the total price, but my shower curtain cost around $9, and it can be held with a $70 reflector holder or a C-stand gobo arm for a lot less than $350. But just material to material, we're talking about a savings of around 90%, and that $90 can go far towards other aspects of a micro-budget film or video project. While I've heard of this trick numerous times over the years, I was always a bit skeptical. Could it really be that useful? Especially because I had some other cheap silks I was already using. I also talk about those in that other video that I just mentioned. But now after using it, I am pretty impressed. It softens the light in a pleasing way, and when using two layers, it acts reasonably similar to the effect of a silk. One layer is a bit harder, but doesn't lose as much light, so I like those results. My measurements are from my tests and are not 100% lab accurate, but starting with the knowledge that silks have around a 1 to 2 stop loss of light, let's call it then 1.5 stops, the shower curtain was only losing me about 1/3 of a stop for one layer and 2/3 of a stop for two layers, while the silk was losing me 2 stops in my tests. So we're losing a lot less light with the shower curtain in either a single or double layer version when compared with a silk. But we're getting a quality of light that is really similar to the silk, all for 10% of the cost. And let's not forget that we're able to use this as a large 6x6 source. So this is getting you much more soft light than something like a smaller softbox, an octabox, or even a 2x3 silk. And it can be placed independently of your lamp. So that size is a distinct advantage for lighting larger scenes, creating general light, making really soft light portraits, and so many more applications. Now, there are some things about this, just even small details that I did like about the shower curtain besides the actual diffusion itself. The one that I got had little weights at the bottom edge, and I think that helped it just, hang a little bit more straight and keep that bottom edge down and even. If it didn't have something like that, you could probably use a spring clamp in the middle or something like that, just to help keep it weighed down. Now, like I mentioned, I am using this on a reflector holder that is fully extended, and this is a lightweight tool, so that works just fine and saves some more money. Not to mention, traveling to a location with a reflector holder and a folded up shower curtain as your large 6x6 diffusion kit is about as lightweight as you can get. I did also find that the material was more durable than I expected, at least with the one that I bought. But on the other hand, a thing that concerns me is the durability. These are plastic, so you will have to take some care with them. A silk seems to be about infinitely more durable, not to mention heat resistant. Plastic shower curtains are not heat resistant, so you need to be careful with hot lamps and keep in mind that they could present a melting hazard or even a fire hazard if used incorrectly. My advice is to keep them off of and at a reasonable distance from a hot lamp and to try to use them more with things like LED lamps instead. One other thing I do love about the shower curtain was how easy it was to use with the reflector holder to go from a 3-foot wide panel to a 6-foot wide panel, and thus a 2-layer diffusion to a 1-layer diffusion. It was so easy to have it folded over with the opening towards the pole of the stand, and then to just unclip that edge and reclip it at the 6-foot mark or vice versa. That transition takes seconds, and I could see myself having one of these set up at the beginning of my day with the 2-layer 3-foot option, and then flipping it to the 6-foot 1-layer, and then back and forth all day long to moderate the levels of diffusion or size needed for my shot, and having that done super quickly. So that brings us to a final question. How professional is a shower curtain? To be honest, this was something that held me back from using these. Do I think a shower curtain is specifically professional? No, not really. But as I have been working with them for this video, it got me thinking. Most clients aren't going to know or care what the material is. Heck, they just saw me pull a huge piece of styrofoam out to use as a beadboard bounce. Maybe other professionals would notice or care, but there is 100% in my mind an aspect of all of filmmaking that these are choices made by your access to gear, your access to budget, and the reasoning within your story, and then your personal preference. And thus, you could use a shower curtain in a professional situation if you want to. Is it as good as a silk? Yes and no. Is it as good as other pro diffusion materials? Maybe yes, maybe no, depending on the context. By and large, professional tools will have more consistency in their quality, and professional tools also have pro support accessories, like frames that make them easier to work with. But those can add to the equipment cost and the labor cost. And if you're a micro budget filmmaker, those are decisions that you have to make about your project. Until you have a personal style or story reason and the budget to use those, I think the shower curtain can fit the bill as a large, cheap diffusion material. I also want to mention that this is aimed specifically at micro budget filmmakers, and there is a certain amount of resourcefulness that is inherent in micro budget filmmaking that I think makes this completely fair game, regardless of how technically professional it is. And one of my favorite things about filmmaking in general is finding ways to make things work on screen in service of your film, even if they're simple or household items. Ultimately, if it works and it isn't presenting a safety risk, then I don't think it needs to be questioned. So with all that said, yay for shower curtain diffusion. If you have any questions about using these, you can leave those in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And also, I just generally love it when people comment on my videos. If you want to pick up one for yourself, I have both affiliate links and non-affiliate links down in the video's description for some available options. The affiliate links do help support these videos and my channel at no extra cost to you. If you're somebody who likes low budget lighting solution videos like this one, please give the video a like to help me with the YouTube algorithm, which helps me reach new viewers who also like these kinds of videos. If you want, you can also subscribe for upcoming videos about tools and techniques for cinematography, lighting, and micro budget filmmaking in general. I am trying to grow my Patreon this year, so if you want to vote on upcoming video topics, upcoming lighting diagrams, get some extra goodies, and just generally support the production of these free cinematography lessons, you can join me over at patreon.com/Trenton Hoshiko. I do have both free and paid tiers starting at just $2, and I'm trying to reach 100 members total. If you prefer something like Ko-fi, I do have that as well, and all of these links are down in the video's description, along with my social media links, including my Blue Sky, Mastodon, Hey.cafe, and my cinematography blog. If you follow me on any of those, you'll probably end up seeing pictures of my pets, which is always fun and kind of a win-win for everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and this week, please be a kind resource for folks around you. There is a lot going on that is causing major interruptions and harms in people's lives, and just being there for folks can make all of the difference. And As always, I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Peace.